Good day, everyone. We are the Group 3, and our topic for today is all about historical development of art that focuses on surrealism, expressionism, abstract expressionism, Fauvism, Dadaism, constructivism, and the last one is Cubism. Before we start our discussion, let me introduce my group mates first. I am Kristen May Makinano, together with Hossein Osman, Kenjay Noveno, Jeria Villaruz, Khalil Gabi, Jerjali Yamson, Krisha Factura, Ivan Yukot, Seth Chutor, and the last one is Lee Espinosa. To start, let me call Mr. Osman to introduce the first topic, which is the surrealism.
So let's define what is surrealism. So surrealism is an artistic and literacy movement that emerged in the early 20th century. So surrealism characterized by its emphasis on the subconscious mind, dreams, and the irrational. So surrealism, it is a style that tries to challenge reality by depicting a warped, irrational universe filled with surprising, bizarre futures. So surrealism techniques such as automatism, dream imagery, and the juxtaposition. Key features of surrealism. So surrealism's subconscious, they sought on a top into this unconscious realm through techniques such as automatism, which involve writing or drawing without conscious control. So next one is dream imaginary. So dreams were a major source of inspiration for surrealists. They saw dreams as a space where the boundaries between reality and fantasy were blurred and where the unconscious could freely express itself. Next one is juxtaposition or unrelated objects. So a common technique in the surrealist art was to combine seemingly unrelated object in unexpected ways. So this created a sense of desecration and absurdity, which reflected the illogical nature of the subconscious mind.
The image display three surrealistic artworks. Each depict dreamlike and fantastic concepts characteristics of surrealism movement. In the left artwork, it features a fusion of an elephant and a musical tube. These blends of nature and objects symbolize harmony between sound and life, creating a whimsical dreamlike quality. It also reflects the surrealistic approach, transforming reality into imaginative and unexpected forms. In the center artwork, it shows a giant axe integrated into a tree trunk. It appears as though it's cutting itself. This symbolizes the theme of destruction and creation, as well as a paradox of self-destruction. The vivid sunset background enhances the dramatic and thought-provoking imagery. In the right artwork, it depicts surreal, elongated figures symbolizing legs with an ear and a mouth as their upper body. This likely represents themes of communication and human sense in abstract forms and common trope in surrealistic to challenge perception of reality. Each artwork embodies surrealism's essence by blending elements of the real world and imagination. It creates it creating scenes that are visually striking and conceptually profound.
Expressionism. What is Expressionism? Expressionism is a modernist movement that first developed around 1905 and continued until around the end of World War II. Expressionism was initially very popular as an avant-garde style of painting and expanded to other art forms including poetry, architecture, dance, and music, with influences intermingling at various points in history. So, Expressionism is an art style that emphasizes the artist's subjective emotions and responses to objects and events, rather than objective reality. So, the next slide is an example of Expressionism art.
So, good day everyone. I am Jorheya J. Villarus, and for my topic this day is I will explain the history of Expressionism and I hope you will listen carefully. So, Expressionism was an art movement that started in Northern Europe around the beginning of the 20th century. It wasn't just about the painting, it also began in poetry. Instead of trying to realistically represent the world, expressionist artists focused on expressing their feelings and emotions about the world. They might distort shapes or colors and perspectives to convey these feelings more powerfully. Think of it like this: a realistic painting of a sad person might show tears and a downturned mouth. An expressionist painting of a sad person might use dark, gloomy colors, exaggerated features, or distorted shapes to make the sadness much more intense and obvious. The goal wasn't to create a perfect copy of reality, but to create a powerful emotional impact on the viewer. The artist's subjective perspective, their personal feeling, was the most important thing. They used radical distortions to evoke moods, communicate ideas in a way that felt more im- immediate. So, Expressionism developed as an avant-garde style before the First World War. It remained popular during the Weimar Republic, particularly in Berlin. The style extended to a wide range of the arts including expressionist architecture, painting, literature, theater, dance, film, and music. So, the term is sometimes suggestive of angst. Angst. Angst is like angst is a term of expressionism often suggests a feeling of anxiety or angst. This reflects the emotional intensity often found in expressionist art. So, in a historical sense, much older painters such as Mathias and El Greco are sometimes termed expressionists, though the term is applied mainly to 20th century works. The expressionist emphasizes on individual and subjective perspective, has been characterized as a reaction to positivism and other artistic styles such as naturalism and impressionism. And that's all for my topic.
Abstract Expressionism. Painters like Jackson Pollock led the revolutionized art behind abstract expressionism. His works presented the so-called radical abstract styles, which showcase the separation of line from color and reintroduces drawing and painting. So, abstract expressionism is pioneered by artists like Jackson Pollock, challenged traditional notions of painting by emphasizing spontaneous expression and the exploration of the unconscious. So, Pollock's works, such as Blue Poles, exemplify these radical styles and characterized by the separation of line and color and a renewed focus on the art of painting itself. So, next slide is Jose Joya was known to have pioneered the growth of abstract expressionism in Philippine visual art. His Hills of Nico depicts the snowy winter time in Nikko, Japan. After he visited Nikko, he painted balanced image of hues and strokes as an expression of his aesthetic experience. So, Jose Joya played a crucial role in introducing and developing abstract expressionism in Philippine visual art. Joya's painting, like Hills of Nico, showcases his ability to translate a real world experience into an abstract composition, so emphasizing the balance of hues and strokes. Next is the pictorial space. So pictorial space is commonly found in two-dimensional art, which has illusionary space, which appears to recede backward into depth from the picture plane, as giving the illusion of, such as the Hills of Nico by Joya. That is an example. So the pictorial space in two-dimensional art. So pictorial space refers to the creation of the illusion of depth within a two-dimensional artwork. So like the Hills of Nico, it is an example where Joyce's painting demonstrates the use of pictorial space as the viewer's eye is drawn into the composition, perceiving a sense of distance and depth. So overall, abstract expressionism and its ability to transcend cultural boundaries. It highlights the work of two significant artists such as um, Jose Joya and Jackson Pollock, wherein they contributed to the evolution of modern art.
This manner of art is also known as color field or action painting because work of art becomes an event. Gestural abstraction is also coined as another term for this art for the reason that artist brushstrokes revealed his process. The said process served as the subject of an art itself. This art characteristic of messiness and exceptionally energetic application of painting which have been introduced into the art scene after World War II. Part of the distinguished features of this art includes spontaneity, free and personal emotion expression. Sean Pollock, Yellow Island, 1952. In order to attain this, artists show considerable freedom of execution and technique, which focus to the exploitation of the variable physical characteristics of paint to evoke qualities of dynamism, violence, mystery, sensuousness, and lyricism. These expressions have similarities in expressing the effect of the creative and consciousness in art.
Our next topic is all about Fauvism. Fauvism was an influential art movement in the early 20th century, known for its bold, vibrant colors and energetic brushstrokes. It was inspired by Impressionism and Post Impressionism, which laid the foundation for its expressive style. From Impressionism, Fauvist artists adopted the use of pure colors and visible brushstrokes, but took it further by using exaggerated and unnatural use to evoke emotion rather than depict reality. Post-Impressionism's focus on personal expression, arbitrary colors, and simplified forms also strongly influenced Fauvism, encouraging artists to prioritize creativity and emotional impact over realism. The term Fauvism, meaning wild beast, was coined by art critic Louis Vuittel in 1905 due to the shocking and unconventional nature of these artworks. Fauvist paintings, as shown in the example, are filled with vivid, non-realistic colors and dynamic compositions, often depicting landscapes, figures, and nature. This movement, though short-lived, was groundbreaking, pushing the boundaries of artistic expression and paving the way for future modern art movements like Expressionism and abstract art.
Stick of Fauvism art. First is vivid and bold colors. Fauvist artists use bold, vibrant colors to express their emotions and feelings. They applied colors in flat areas, creating a sense of energy and excitement. This bold use of color was a departure from the subdued palettes of Cubism and created a sense of immediacy and intensity. Second is expressive brushstrokes. Fauvis's brushstrokes were bold and expressive, capturing a sense of movement and spontaneity. They often applied paint in thick layers, allowing the texture of the canvas to show through. This technique, unlike the meticulous brushwork of Impressionism, convey a sense of immediacy and emotion, emphasizing the artist's personal expression. As distortion and exaggeration. Fauvist artists often distorted or exaggerated forms to create a sense of tension or drama. This was particularly evident in their depictions of the human figure. For example, Matisse's Woman with the Hat features a distorted face and elongated limbs, emphasizing the emotional intensity of the portrait. This approach allowed the artist to express their subjective interpretation of reality. This emphasis on color over form. Fauvist artists prioritize color over form, using color itself to create a sense of volume and depth rather than relying on traditional techniques like chiaroscuro, the use of light and shadow. They use color to define shapes and create an illusion of space. For example, in Durand's London Bridge, the use of bright, contrasting colors create a sense of depth and energy even though the forms are simplified. Simplification of form. Fauvist artists simplified forms, breaking them down into basic geometry shapes like circles, squares, and triangles. This simplification was a way of emphasizing the expressive potential of color and light. Also reflected the influence of post-impressionist artists like Cézanne, who focused on the fundamental geometric structure of objects.
We have notable Fauvist artists and their artworks. First is Henri Matisse, a French artist often considered the leader of the Fauvist movement. He is known for his innovative use of bold, vivid colors and expressive forms. He broke away from the traditional art rules to create vibrant and emotional works that celebrated freedom and creativity. His leadership in the Fauvist movement influenced many artists and shaped modern art. The Joy of Life is one of his artwork created in 1905. This painting is a perfect example of Fauvism, with its vibrant, unnatural colors and flowing, simplified shapes. The artwork depicts people relaxing in a lush, dreamlike landscape, conveying a sense of harmony and happiness. If you observe closely, at the center of this artwork, you can see a circular dance of figures, which is a motif of Matisse developed further in his later painting, The Dance. It was created in 1910. This artwork is a simplified and intensified version of the dancing figures seen in The Joy of Life. It features five figures holding hands in a circular motion, painting in bold red against a bright blue and green background. The painting conveys movement, energy, and a deep sense of connection, embodying the fullest spirit of using color and form to express emotion. Our next artist is André Duran, was a French artist who was a key figure in the development of Fauvism, a movement that emphasized the use of bold colors and expressive brushwork. Duran was a close friend and collaborator of Henri Matisse, another important figure in the development of modern art. Duran's artwork is characterized by its use of bold colors, expressive brushwork, and simplified forms. He was particularly interested in the expressive potential of color, and he often used color in a way that was not intended to represent reality. Instead, he used color to create a sense of emotion and atmosphere. On the left side are the images that compares two artworks of the Charing Cross Bridge. On the left side are the images that compares two artworks of the Charing Cross Bridge, highlighting the distinct styles of the artist. André Duran, 1906, painting exemplifies Fauvism with its bold, vibrant colors and broad, expressive brushstrokes, creating a lively and emotional scene. In contrast, the 1903 painting by another artist, which is Claude Monet, uses softer tones of blue and gray, focusing on atmospheric perspective and realistic details. This comparison illustrates how different artists can interpret the same subject uniquely, with Duran emphasizing emotional impact through intense colors and the other artist capturing a more realistic and serene depiction of the bridge. The last one is Maurice de Vlaminck was a French painter in Paris. He is renowned for his role in the Fauvist movement, which emphasized bold colors and expressive brushstrokes. Vlaminck's artistic journey began in his late teens, and he was known for his vibrant and dynamic style. He often painted landscapes and scenes from everyday life using intense colors to convey emotion and energy. One of his notable works is the scene at Chateau in 1906. This painting captures a view of the Seine River near Chateau, a small village west of Paris. Blamick's use of bright primary colors like blue, red, and yellow applied directly from the tube and swirls exemplifies his Fauve style. The painting bold brushstrokes and vivid hues create a lively and dynamic scene reflecting Vlamick's spontaneous and passionate approach to painting. Vlamick's works, including the scene at Chateau, showcases his ability to capture the essence of a scene through color and form rather than focusing on realistic details. This approach was a hallmark of Fauvism, which sought to evoke emotional responses through the use of intense, non-naturalistic colors.
Dadaism was a revolutionary art movement that emerged in the early 20th century, primarily a response to the horrors of World War I. It challenged traditional artistic conventions and societal norms, embracing absurdity, chance, and anti-art as its core tenets. So here are the key topics related to the Dadaism: origins and historical context, World War I, and the war's devastating impact on the Europe, particularly in the senseless loss of life and the rise of nationalism, fueled the Dadaist movement, and artists sought to express their disgust and disillusionment with the world. Cabaret Voltaire. This Zurich nightclub founded in 1916 by Hugo Ball and Amy Hennings, became the birthplace of Dadaism. It served as a meeting place for artists, writers, and intellectuals. who shared a desire to challenge the status quo. Avant-garde. Avant-garde movement. Dadaism was deeply rooted in the avant-garde movement, which emphasizes innovation, experimentation, and the rejection of traditional artistic norms. Dadaists pushed the boundaries of artistic expression even further, embracing chaos and absurdity. Key ideas and principles. Anti-art anti-art is the Dadaists rejected the idea of art as a beautiful or meaningful object. They believe that art should be proactive and destructive and even nonsensical. Chance and spontaneity. That the artists embrace chance and randomness in their creative process, believing that it could lead to unexpected and submersive results. This was directly challenged the idea of the artist as a master craftsman who meticulously planned and executed their work. Absurdity and humor. Dadaists used humor as a satire to mock societal conventions, political figures, and art world itself. They believed that laughter could be a powerful tool for social critique and resistance. Ready-mades. These concepts pioneered by Marcel Duchamp involve taking everyday object and presenting them as an art. The ready-made challenged the traditional definitions of art and questioned the role of the artist in the creative process.
So let's proceed to artistic styles and techniques. There are three types of artistic styles and techniques. First one is collage and photomontage, sound poetry, and performance art. So, collage and photomontage, Dadaists used collage and photomontage to create jarring and unexpected visual juxtapositions. They often combine found objects, images, and text in a way that challenge traditional notions of composition and aesthetics. So, sound poetry. Hugo Ball, a key figure in the Dadaist movement, explored the possibilities of sound poetry, where the focus was on the sound of words rather than their meaning. This form of poetry was often performed live, adding to its disruptive and experimental nature. So, the last one is performance art. Dadaism extended beyond visual art, embracing performance art as a means of challenging societal norms and provoking audiences. Dada performances often involve absurdity, humor, and a rejection of traditional theatrical convention. So let's proceed to the key Dadaist artists. Marcel Duchamp, Hugo Ball, Tristan Zara, Hans Arp, Hannah Hodge, and Man Ray. So, Marcel Duchamp, a leading figure in Dadaism. Duchamp is best known for his ready-mades such as Fountain and Ella O'Cool. His work challenged very definition of art and the role of the artist. So the second one is Hugo Ball, a poet, writer, and a performer. Ball is credited with founding Cabaret Voltaire and writing the first Dadaist manifesto. He also explored the possibilities of sound poetry. So the third one is Tristan Zara, a Romanian poet and playwright. Zara is considered one of the key figures in Dadaist movement. He wrote several Dadaist manifestos and was a vocal advocate for the movement's anti-art principles. So the fourth one is Hans Arp, a sculptor, painter, and poet. Arp explored the possibilities of chance and randomness in his art. His collage and sculptures often features organic forms and abstract composition. So the fifth one is Hannah Hodge, one of the few prominent female Dadaist artists. Hodge is known for her photomontage
which often incorporated elements of satire, social commentary, and feminist critique. So the last one is Man Ray, an American artist and photographer. Man Ray was associated with both Dadaism and Surrealism. He is known for his innovative photographic technique, including rayographs and his exploration on his subconscious. So here are the examples of Dadaism art: Ella OOQ 1999, Fountain 1917, and The Spirit of Our Time 1999. So Ella OOQ 1999, this piece is Marcel Duchamp's famously provocative ready-made. He took a reproduction of a Mona Lisa and added a mustache and goatee, subtly altering the iconic image. This simple act challenged traditional notions of art and beauty. The title was pronounced in French, a suggestive phrase, further adding to the work's irrelevant nature. Is a prime example of Dada's anti-art stance. The second one is Fountain 1917. This is arguably Duchamp's most famous ready-made. He submitted a standard urinal sign "R mute" to an art exhibition. The art questioned the very definition of art, challenging the established art world's conventions and elitisms. Its simple presentation of an utilitarian object as art sparkles significant debate and controversy. It remains a cornerstone of conceptual art. So the last one is Spirit of Our Time 1999. This piece, also by Duchamp, is a complex assemblage or sculpture. It features a wooden head with various mechanical and found objects attached. The work reflects Dada's embrace of an unconventional materials and techniques. The unsettling juxtaposition of elements evoke a sense of uneasy and commentary on a mechanized modern world. Its fragmented nature mirrors the fractured state of post-war society. So in conclusion, Dadaism was a short-lived movement, but its impact on the art world was profound. It helped to redefine what art could be, challenge traditional artistic conventions, and pave the way for the new and innovative form of artistic expression. Its influence can be seen in contemporary art, where artists continue to explore the boundaries of creativity and challenge the status quo.
Constructivism. What is constructivism? Constructivism art is a modern art movement that emerged in Russia during the early 20th century. It was heavily influenced by ideas of the Russian Revolution and Marxist revolutionary theory, which placed an emphasis on creative autonomy, individuality, and self-expression. Constructivist works typically featured geometric shapes and industrial materials such as wood, metal, and glass, often arranged in simple yet powerful compositions to create dynamic visual energy. By combining elements of painting, sculpture, architecture, and design into one unified artwork, Constructivism revolutionized our approach to creativity and abstraction in art.
Now, I will discuss to you the Tatline designs. So, Tatline designs is the work of Vladimir Tatlins, a Russian artist and architect associated with the constructivism movements. His famous design in the Tatlin Tower, also known as the Monument to the Third International, a visionary architectural concept created in 1919. So Tatline design embodies the principles of modernism's abstract art and revolutionary ideals. So his approach was deeply connected to the idea of utilitarian art and architectures, where beauty and functionality merge with political significance. So as you can see, to the picture, so that is the Tatline Tower, or it called be Monument to the Third International. So that is the design of Vladimir Tatlin, a Russian artist. So Tightline design, designed in 1919, it was intended to serve as a monument to the Russian revolutions and the Third International. So the tower was meant to be dynamic, modernist structure that symbolized the forward-looking ideals of the Soviet government. So its design featured a spiraling helix like structure made of steel and glass, which would house multiple functional space, including government office, meeting halls, and rotating exhibition space. So the tower was never built, but it became one of the famous unbuilt architectural project in history. So its design influenced many later works of architecture, and it seems as a radical departure from traditional forms.
Our last topic is all about Cubism. Cubism is described as a groundbreaking artistic movement of the early 20th century, radically challenging traditional notions of perspective and representation. This movement was pioneered by renowned artists like Pablo Picasso and George Braque. Cubism sought to depict subjects from multiple viewpoints simultaneously. Instead of showing a single perspective, artists combined different angles into one composition. Objects and figures were broken down into geometric shapes such as cubes, spheres, and cones. These forms were then reassembled in abstract ways. The style often involved fragmenting the subject into pieces and reconfiguring them, creating a sense of depth and complexity. The image on the left side includes five artworks that exemplify the Cubist style. These pieces showcase fragmented and abstracted figures and objects, highlighting the use of geometric shapes and multiple perspectives. Cubism was a radical departure from traditional art, influencing many subsequent art movements and changing the way we perceive and represent reality in art.
Cubist artists and their artwork. Pablo Picasso was a Spanish artist. He is best known for his pioneering work in Cubism, a style of art that emphasizes geometric forms and fragmented images. So, Cubism is an artistic style that revolutionized painting in the early 20th century. Instead of depicting subjects realistically, Cubist artists like Pablo Picasso broke them down into geometric shapes and showed them from multiple viewpoints simultaneously. This created a fragmented and abstract effect, challenging traditional notions of perspective and representation. So, the image that you can see on the left side is Pablo Picasso, a leading figure in the Cubist movement, and his iconic painting on the right side, which is the Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, which is considered a groundbreaking work in Cubist art. So, next is George Braque. So, George Braque was a French painter, sculptor, and a printmaker. He is also best known for his pioneering work in Cubism. So, George Braque was a pioneering French artist who, alongside Pablo Picasso, co-founded Cubism. So, as what I have said earlier, this revolutionary art movement challenged traditional perspective by breaking down objects into geometric shapes and reassembling them in abstract ways. So, Brock's work, often featuring still lifes, are known for their muted colors, robust structures, and a serene, contemplative quality. So, there are key characteristics of Brock's Cubism. First is fragmentation. So, objects are deconstructed into interlocking planes and facets. It also has different viewpoints of the subject, which are integrated within the same composition. Next is it focus on the underlying structure and geometry of objects, and it often employs subdued colors, creating a sense of
quietitude. So as you can see, Brock's violin and candlestick painting serves as an excellent example of his cubist style, showcasing these key characteristics. So that's it for our report. Thank you for listening.